Some of the most tiring parts of home life are not always the rooms that look messy. Sometimes they are the spaces that look completely fine, but quietly ask something from you every single day. The pantry that looks neat but hides what you already have. The counter that appears almost clear, but still holds 5 decisions you have not made. The evening routine that was supposed to help, but now feels like another shift you must complete before you are allowed to rest. And perhaps you have looked around your home and thought, nothing is really that bad, so why do I still feel tired here? That feeling does not mean you are ungrateful, disorganized, or failing to manage your home. A space can be tidy labeled and technically organized, while still requiring you to remember, check refill, sort decide, and stay ahead. It can look organized without actually supporting you. Today we are not going to reset the whole house. We are going to look at 6 home systems that may appear organized but still require too much attention, and how to make each one gentler. Not perfect, not impressive, just easier to live with. 1. The food system that hides what you have. The first system is any food area that looks organized but still creates uncertainty. It might be your pantry, your refrigerator, a snack shelf, a freezer drawer, a corner filled with supplements, tea, or baking supplies. From the outside, everything may appear to be under control. There may be matching containers, separate categories, clear baskets, or carefully arranged shelves. But when you need something, you still have to search. You are not sure which item should be used first. You cannot remember whether you already bought another one. Something may be stored neatly behind something else where it stays forgotten until it expires. The problem is not necessarily that the space is messy. The problem is that the system asks you to remember information that the space itself should make easier to see. A supportive food system does not have to be beautiful. It has to be readable. You should be able to open the door and understand what you have without conducting an inventory in your head. So instead of reorganizing the entire pantry, choose one shelf and ask 3 questions. Do I use this regularly? Can I see it easily? Does keeping it this way make tomorrow easier? Those questions may lead to a very simple change. You might move the items that need to be used soon toward the front. You might stop transferring certain foods into containers when the original packaging gives you useful information. You might remove a category that no longer reflects the way you actually eat. You might decide that one basket is enough, instead of creating 5 smaller systems that all need maintaining. You do not need to create a perfect food display. You need a system you can understand on an ordinary Tuesday when you are tired and trying to decide what to eat. Pretty storage is not relief when it makes you work harder to remember what is inside it. Readable is often more supportive than perfect. 2. The flat surface that has become a decision queue. The second system is the flat surface that keeps collecting unfinished decisions. The kitchen counter, the edge of the dining table, the chair in the bedroom, the small table near the door. These areas are often described as clutter magnets. But many of the objects sitting there are not simply random clutter. They represent decisions. The envelope you need to open, the item you plan to return, the form that needs a signature, the object that belongs somewhere else, although you have not decided exactly where, the donation bag you intend to take out later. When several unfinished tasks remain visible, they may continue to come back to mind even when you are not actively working on them. Research on unfinished tasks suggests that incomplete activities can remain easier to recall than completed ones. That does not mean every visible object is damaging your mental health. It simply means that some piles are not really storage. They are reminders, and reminders require attention. This is why clearing the entire room is not always the most helpful response. A gentler response is to remove one type of decision. Only the mail, only the returns, only the papers, only the objects that belong in another room. Choose one category and close that loop. Then stop. You do not need an empty counter to feel a difference. Sometimes you only need one less group of objects asking you to come back. The goal is not to make the surface photograph ready. The goal is to make it stop functioning like an unpaid assistant constantly handing you more work. Close one loop. Let the others wait quietly for now. 3. The storage system that requires constant maintenance. The third system is the storage method that takes more effort to maintain than the problem it was meant to solve. This can happen anywhere in the home. A drawer divided into too many tiny categories. A closet where every item has to be folded in one exact way. A bathroom cabinet filled with small matching containers. A basket system that only works when every person remembers several detailed rules. At first, these systems can feel satisfying. Everything has a category. Everything has a label. Everything appears to have a proper home. But over time, the system may begin to create additional work. You have to remove products from their packaging. You have to refill containers. You have to maintain categories that are no longer useful. You have to correct the system whenever real life interrupts it. A system is not automatically supportive because it looks organized. It is supportive when it is easy to return to. Ask yourself, can I maintain this on a low-capacity day? Can another person understand it without asking me? Does putting something away take more effort than taking it out? If the answer is yes, the system may be too detailed for your current life. You are allowed to combine categories. You are allowed to use fewer containers. You are allowed to leave frequently used items where they are easy to reach. You are allowed to change a system that once worked but no longer fits your routine. Your home is not a showroom. Its systems do not need to prove that you are organized. They need to reduce unnecessary steps. A simpler system that you can actually use is more valuable than a beautiful system you have to keep rescuing. 4. The evening reset that has become a second shift. The fourth system is the routine that was created to make life easier, but now keeps you working longer. The bedtime kitchen reset. The Sunday preparation routine. The final walk through the house before you sit down. The habit of checking every room one more time. These routines can be useful. Preparing the coffee area might make the morning easier. Putting your bag near the door may prevent a rushed search. Washing one pan may make breakfast feel less complicated. The problem begins when a helpful reset quietly expands into a requirement to complete the entire room. One small task becomes 5. 5 tasks become 20 minutes. And suddenly you are not preparing for tomorrow. You are working another shift. For some women, this routine becomes connected to the belief that rest must be earned. The kitchen needs to look finished. The list needs to be closed. Tomorrow needs to be fully prepared. Only then are you allowed to sit down. But care and control are not the same thing. Caring for your home does not require making every room look as though nobody lives there. Before beginning an evening reset, ask, what will genuinely make tomorrow easier? And what am I doing only because stopping feels uncomfortable? Perhaps tomorrow will be easier if the coffee maker is ready. Perhaps one clear section of the counter is enough. Perhaps you need clean clothes for the morning, but the rest of the laundry can wait. Choose the task that gives something back. Then give yourself permission to leave the room. You do not have to finish a space simply because you started working in it. A reset should reduce tomorrow's friction. It should not become another standard you must satisfy tonight. 5. The shared system that only you know how to run. The fifth system looks like a household system, but in reality, it depends almost entirely on one person. Perhaps everyone uses the pantry, but only you know when something needs replacing. Everyone places items near the door, but only you know where they eventually belong. Everyone benefits from clean towels, stocked toiletries, planned meals, and remembered appointments, but you are the person noticing when each system is about to fail. The physical task is only one part of the work. Someone also has to notice, remember, plan, check, decide, follow up. Research on cognitive household labor has found that women often carry a larger share of this noticing and planning work in many heterosexual households. That does not describe every woman or every home, but it can help explain why household responsibilities may still feel present even when no physical task is being performed. A system is not truly shared if everyone can use it but only one person can operate it. To make one system gentler, choose a responsibility that can become more visible or more complete. Instead of asking someone to help with groceries, the responsibility might become checking one category, adding missing items to the list, and putting those items away. Instead of reminding someone each week about the trash, the entire recurring responsibility can belong to them. Instead of keeping every instruction in your memory, write down the 3 steps that matter and place them where the task happens. The goal is not to supervise people more efficiently. The goal is to stop being the invisible control center for every shared system. You should not have to remain mentally available to every household process simply because you were the person who created it. A shared home should not depend on one person remembering everything. 6. The planning system that makes rest feel conditional. The sixth system is the planner checklist or routine that was supposed to create calm, but now makes rest feel conditional. It may be a weekly reset list, a detailed cleaning schedule, a Sunday preparation checklist, a collection of recurring reminders on your phone. Planning can be helpful. Writing things down can keep you from having to hold every detail in your memory. But a planning system stops being supportive when it becomes a record of everything you have not completed. You open the list and immediately see what is late, what was skipped, what should have happened yesterday, what still needs to be moved into tomorrow. Instead of reducing pressure, the list becomes a scoreboard, and the unfinished items begin to feel like evidence that you are behind. But a list is not a moral judgment. It is not proof of how responsible, caring, or capable you are. It is only a tool, and you are allowed to change the tool. Try separating tasks into 3 simple groups. What truly needs attention? What would be helpful? What can remain unfinished? That third category matters. Not because the task is meaningless, but because not every task deserves the same level of urgency. Some things can wait without damaging your week. Some things can be done less often. Some things can be simplified. Some things may not need to remain on the list at all. A good planning system should help you decide what not to do. It should not turn every possible task into a personal obligation. Your list is there to support your life. Your life is not there to complete the list. The deeper layer, quiet guilt. Under many of these systems is a quieter feeling, guilt. It may not sound dramatic. It often sounds practical. I should just finish this. It will only take a minute. I will be able to relax once this is done. Sometimes completing the task does help. But sometimes 1 minute becomes another task, and then another. You stay active longer, not because the work is urgent, but because stopping still feels like leaving something wrong. Many women are not only completing household tasks, they may also be carrying the responsibility of noticing what remains unfinished. That responsibility can stay present in the background even after they sit down. But feeling responsible does not mean you are required to carry everything. You can care deeply and still leave something for later. You can be attentive without remaining constantly available. You can appreciate your home without turning its maintenance into a performance of endless management. You are allowed to stop before the room is perfect. You are allowed to leave a task unfinished when completing it would require more from you than it would give back. Done enough is still a real form of done. One gentle action for today. You do not need to fix all 6 systems today. Choose one place in your home that looks fine, but keeps making you work. Not the biggest problem. Not the most embarrassing room. Just the system that quietly repeats itself in your day. Then ask, what is one decision I can remove from this space? Perhaps you can make one category easier to see. Perhaps you can combine 2 complicated storage groups. Perhaps you can give one recurring object a permanent home. Perhaps you can remove one task from your evening reset. Perhaps you can transfer one complete responsibility instead of repeatedly asking for help. Perhaps you can decide that one item on your weekly list is no longer urgent. Make one small change. Then observe what happens the next time you use that space. Do you have to search less? Remember less? Correct less? Decide less? That is the kind of organization that matters here. Not the kind that creates the most impressive before and after image. The kind that asks less from you tomorrow. Calm is not measured by how much you completed. Sometimes it begins with what no longer keeps pulling you back. Your home does not have to look finished to start feeling more supportive. What is one home task you are ready to stop treating as urgent?